Can you hear me? Nice. Well, welcome to online event, tinyhouse.com. I wanted to thank Zach and Jason for putting this together. I think it's a really cool idea, especially during these times where events are not happening. So it's a cool opportunity to get a lot of people together. Jason kind of approached me about being a part of it and really didn't know what it was going to look like. And so, but he kind of thought it would be cool. One of the big questions that people ask us at events is how do we get started, where the name Mustard Seed kind of came from. And so, well, I'll just kind of want to tell a little bit of the story. We'll kind of open it up to questions. I think, I went to school at Georgia State, did a business degree, and really just wasn't really fit for that, and really felt a draw to construction. So I got into that for a few years, and then really kind of started feeling like life was leading me to serve others. After Hurricane Katrina happened, we started sending some teams down, doing some construction, and it gave me a heart for missions. So I kind of signed up for a 6-month trip, doing kind of a construction-based mission trip. We did a trip to Haiti right after the earthquakes, and 6 months turned into about 8 years of mission work. It's where I met my wife. We were with an organization called Youth with a Mission. After me and my wife met, we moved to South Africa. I lived there for 2 years, running a wood shop in Cape Town, teaching guys from a local township how to do construction, carpentry, mainly, building picture frames, tables out of just scrap wood. And it was the time of my life. If I start talking about it too much, I'll start crying. Because it was really hard to leave there, but I felt called to, just out of nowhere, to come back to Georgia and start a tiny house business. And this was maybe 4 or 5 years ago. And but before that, I kind of did an internship doing maintenance. And when I felt like the call to come back to Georgia, start this thing, I came back and met with a guy that I knew, an older guy that I knew that was doing $1 million homes. And I met with him. I said, hey, this guy's name's Chuck. I said, Chuck, here's what I want to do. I want to start this business. I kind of had the name picked out and really what we wanted to do with the business. But, and kind of told him everything. And he just sat back and said, how can I help you? And I told him, I said, listen, Chuck, I need you to introduce me your vendors, your suppliers. I'm a young guy covered in tattoos, going into builder surplus places. They don't even talk to me. And really didn't feel like I had all the complete skills to put together a whole house. So he helped me out, and through the road of doing this, meeting a lot of guys. The facility I build in, you see behind me, is owned by a guy I met that gave me free rent for 9 months, and he actually builds residential trusses, and this is just his warehouse that he stores his lumber, keeps it dry. So he gave me some space, and kind of the rest is history. One of the things that we really believe at Mustard Seed is just kind of the lifestyle that tiny homes kind of facilitate. One of the things that through living in missions, me and my wife and the people we were with were living very minimalistic, living small spaces all over the world. People live a lot smaller than in America, and kind of we came back with those values that we wanted to put into and really believed in the tiny house movement. And one of those things is really just freeing people up from one of the biggest worries right now, which is our finances. You can be freed up from a bigger mortgage, and really freed up to live the life that you can't live by being a slave to that mortgage. Another aspect that we really think that is important that we try to promote in with our tiny homes is, and it comes naturally by having a tiny house, is just having less stuff. A lot of our stuff tends to dictate how we live, and so. But then one of the biggest things, and I'm really working on this thing right now, is I really believe that people have a strong desire to live in community. And when you're in smaller homes, you see these tiny house communities, and it gives you a little bit more sense of a community, being out of your house, getting to know your neighbors. And so one of my big goals for the next few years is to develop a mustard seed tiny home community. Yeah, I mean, we've got little values that we've had. One of them is big change starts small. It goes across the board, not just with tiny houses, but really with every aspect of life. And we've just been trying to do that. And started out building a little 24-footer by myself with one other guy, and it's really grown. Right now, I'll give you all a tour of the warehouse, but right now we're about to start a build for a University of Michigan, and it's 4 homes. They're a little bit bigger. They're going to be used for student housing, and for single mothers. It's a really great project that we're excited about for a university called Jackson College up in Michigan. But we're about to kick that off this week, so it's been pretty hectic. Yeah, I think one more thing I want to share, and I'll open up the questions, is one of the cool things that I really believe in, and it helps me to feel good about kind of what I'm doing here at Mustard Seed is one of the visions that we kind of started with was trying to do the Tom's Shoes deal, kind of 1-for-1 model with the homes that we sell. And since the beginning, we have tried to donate money to ministries all over the world through these ministries that we've been connected through, specifically in South Africa, Haiti, Cambodia, even locally. My dad's got a nonprofit where every home that we sell, we donate money to a ministry. I have a pair of Toms. I don't know the kid that got Toms because the ones that I bought. But one thing that we like to do with our clients is we share the story of the people they were able to impact through the purchase of their home. In Africa, we were able to build a house for a whole family for $1,000 when I was there. And we would build it with the family. We would provide all the lumber and the sheet metal, and they would provide the doors and the windows. And it was a really cool thing. So that's what we've been trying to do. I think that really we're about to enter a really cool season where we'll be able to do a lot of cool builds and help out a lot of people. That's the gist. I mean, that's the shortest version I've ever told somebody. But I wanted to open up for questions, and then I can continue talking. Yeah, if anybody's got a question, I can try to zoom in and answer anything that y'all got. Yeah, so my organization, I mean, I'm a Christian. I believe in Jesus. The organization we were with is called Youth with a Mission. It's a non-denominational Christian organization that goes around and helps people all over the world, trains up young missionaries to do long-term and short-term mission trips in probably 250 different nations in the world. But right now we are just, trying to promote to different ministries, not just through YWAM, through local ministries that we hear about. People approach us. But yeah. So I don't live in a tiny house. When I started this business, I was living in a tiny apartment. I have 2 kids. My son was actually sleeping in our closet in our apartment. But I will say, me and my wife have strong minimalistic values. I don't need a lot of stuff. Our kids don't have a lot of things. We try to make a lot of stuff in our house, which is, fun part of kind of being minimalistic. But yeah, we definitely, I don't live in a tiny house just because I just don't have the property and or the finances to do it. I'm actually renting a smaller home. We're in a 1,300 square foot house right now. My wife just had her third child, so it's been a little hectic. But I will say we have some strong minimalistic values. We believe in it. But yeah. Here we go. I was trying to scroll up. Am I still there? I feel like my thing froze up. Okay. So Meg, how many tiny homes do you build here? Right now, we do about maybe 8 to 10. We've really held off on. I've actually pumped the brakes on a lot of the builds that we've been taking on because I've been trying to develop. As y'all know, one of the biggest problems with tiny homes is financing, finding a place to put them. Just because really, and if you know, and y'all probably do by entering this, is just it's all about how you certify a tiny house. Some people get away with it by doing RVIA. A lot of them try to find different areas. So for the last few years, we've gotten thousands and thousands of people interested. And really, our job as Mustard Seed, outside of building the homes, was trying to find a product that could satisfy the things that people were looking for that were coming to us. So one of the things that we've really started ramping out to is doing a what we're trying to do is set up a modular program where we have engineered stamp plans that we work through, and then we work through different cities' criterias, and we actually have to do a foundation plan. And we are quote unquote building modular homes that are third party inspected. It's been a long process and a little bit expensive, but I think it really is the future of what we're trying to do as Mustard Seed. They're a little bit bigger than the towables. They take a little bit more to haul around, but a lot of the people that we are getting interest from are not looking to move this every 6 months, but they want a smaller footprint to live in. Surprisingly, one of our biggest markets is empty nesters. And so it kind of cuts out the loft on a lot of our homes. So we've been trying to work on making them a little bit wider and having a master on the main and giving it a little bit more space. But yeah, we usually do custom. It takes a little bit more time. It's a little more time consuming and expensive, but that's one of the things that we try to do here at Mustard Seed to set us apart is just concentrating on quality. But we also want to be able to produce a nice production to where we can get more people in tinier homes. A tiny house community where I want to have it located. I think it was Morgan. I have no idea. Somewhere close to us would be good, just so it'd be a little easier to manage. I'm a smaller company. I just don't have the investment right now to put into developing a whole neighborhood. But I do think we've got a good plan. So I'm open to anybody that's interested in helping me achieve that goal. And I know it's coming. Uh, any tips on building from Brenda? Man, when I first started this, I actually I didn't know what to do, and there's a lot of useful tools I went through. There's a company called tinyhomebuilders.com. They had a little conference, and they were actually local to me. And I went and joined one of their seminars. They have a book out, and it really kind of does step by step. But you can see a lot of videos. To be honest, as a builder, I've learned so much over the years of doing this, just through doing it. YouTube is a wealth of knowledge. If I don't know how to put something together, I will look it up. The way I run my business right now is I just kind of do it as a general contractor. So I've got professional frame crews that frame up our houses. I got professional plumbers, electricians, HVAC guys, and they just come through as needed. And it kind of helps to give me and my clients a little bit more assurance that it's somebody that knows what they're doing, that knows local codes, which is important now that we're doing modulars. We have a certain program that we need to build our homes to. But yeah, there's a lot of resources out there of how to build a house. I mean, I'm sure you're going to get a lot of information this weekend. But so yeah, going back, I mean, again, we get a lot of interest, and I'm a small, believe it or not, I'm a small company. I've got two full-time guys, and my wife does all our social media. She does an amazing job. But we get a lot of interest in really the first thing that we usually ask people is what their intent is for this house. If they're wanting to move it around a lot, we can do a tiny house on wheels that is usually 8.5 feet wide. Depending on the build, usually we don't try to go longer than 34 feet. It just gets a lot of weight on that trailer. We build our houses with just like a regular house. And so it gets a little bit heavy. Instead of using Hardy, we use a product called LP Smart Siding. It's weather resistant. It's an amazing product. It looks just like Hardy, but it's a lot lighter. But usually we find out what the intent is for. Like I said, a lot of people that we meet are wanting to just have it full time. And usually that's why doing a community would be ideal, because we still want to answer one of those questions of where you put it, but with modular, we would just kind of go through our modular program for the state. You would have to find property that doesn't have a minimum square footage law. And then it really helps with the city and the local jurisdiction that we have a foundation plan, engineered stamp plans. Then our clients would then get a permit for any work that they wouldn't do on the site, which as we build the house, they would be responsible for, getting the utilities to the property. But usually it takes us anywhere from 8 to 12 weeks to complete a build, depending on whether or not it's 8.5 foot wide, or even our wider modulars, which these 4 modulars we're doing for Jackson College are 14 feet wide and 45 feet long. But 8 feet of that is a porch. So it's a little bit bigger than our standard tiny house, around 600 square feet. That's why we're certifying it as a modular. But for the use that they're kind of developing it for, we think it's going to be a great fit. But the models we're doing, we're calling them our Sycamore, and we'll show some more pictures online soon as we get going. It's going to have 2 bedrooms on the main floor, a big loft, and we're excited about getting them going. We think that this is really going to be a market that we can kind of jump into, and that will really help people out. It comes with amazing financing for these homes. I think it's a 23-year loan, 10% down. They even, if it's a modular, I think we can get it set up to include transport and even sometimes utilities. So But I know a lot of people reach out to us online. Bear with us. We're trying to get to all these emails and really in the middle of trying to put all our efforts towards kind of making a production line to fulfill the needs that we feel are coming. Especially with I don't want to go on a rabbit trail, but one of the things that I've been really thinking about is just with this whole coronavirus thing. People have just been at home, and I really believe reflecting on their values, and I really believe on the back end of this, when America and everybody gets back to a stable normal, that there's going to be a higher interest in smaller homes. Even one of my biggest hearts is to provide housing for the middle class, people that can't afford a $200,000 house payment, and somebody that we're really trying to work hard to have $80,000 house that's quality built, with quality materials, quality craftsmanship. So that's my end game heart, to be able to build a highly efficient home that's not going to have huge utilities, and if we can put it in a community surrounded with people and break up the land costs, I think we've got something going, and I think it's going to be a high desire on the back end of this whole COVID thing. So Steve, have I ever considered using slide outs? We get people asking about it. One of the biggest worries in construction is just water coming in. We get a lot of people wanting a flat roof or a deck. And one thing I've learned just through the mentors I've had is just kind of try to focus on something, stay in your lane. Again, I try to branch out, and that's how we learn new things and grow our portfolio. But haven't had a client that's really pulled the trigger on it. We've had a few people that have been interested in it, but nothing yet. We did a partnership with Zach Giffen a few years ago with a house for homeless veterans through a project called Operation Tiny House, where they had a house that actually had hydraulic lifts to where the loft would have full ceilings. But I knew the engineering was a little bit difficult on that. So, but there's a lot of different ways. But one of the ways that we're really thinking to give a little bit more space is just make it a little bit wider, especially if you're not looking to build around every few months and not in place at time. Terry. One of the things is we get a lot of interest here in Georgia from people from California. And he actually sent one of our tiny house on wheels to Thousand Oaks, about a year ago, to a family that was actually living in the tiny house while we were building their house. And so we've had a lot of interest in Southern California. And you just got to work with all the halls for a tiny house on wheels, usually around $4 or $5 a mile for transport. For a modular, depending on the size, anywhere from $600 to $750. But we're into it. That's the thing about tiny homes. We're open to every market, every state that we can call it so. Oh, guys, I'm just now seeing these comments about my audio. I guess I'm good now. I hope I didn't lose you guys. So, okay, cool. Well, we got 5 minutes left here, but wanted to just kind of open up any other questions that I can get to. If I haven't seen it, I'm sorry. There's a lot coming through. Do I still sound like an alien? I hope not. Website is mustardseedtinyhomes.com. Oh yeah, well, the name mustard seed, it obviously comes from a few parables in the Bible, talking about having the faith of a mustard seed and being able to move mountains. And really, I've seen this happen every day. I've working in missions for years. One of the things you just kind of train your mind to is just stepping out in faith, and found that when you step out in faith, life becomes a lot more exciting. And so that's kind of what we did when we started this business. Thought the visual picture of a mustard seed, being the smallest of seeds, tiny homes, really becoming a big change and impact. Like we said at the beginning, I believe that making the step to living more minimalistic or in the tiny house movement is a big step of faith. But I do believe, just from seeing the fruit in my life, that it's worth it. And we get, if I built all the homes that we had people talk to us about, I would build thousands of homes. But one of the things that we find, and I want to encourage everybody out there, is we get a lot of people interested in it. But when it comes down to really making that commitment, people just tend to step back a little bit and not kind of make that step of faith. And I've seen it happen to where it really, it's not comfortable at first and there's a lot of unknowns, but I believe that God always comes through. There's that story in the Bible about Peter stepping off the boat and walking on water. And a lot of people don't realize, but in that story, there's a storm going on. And I always tell people there's this moment that Peter had to actually shift his weight from the boat to the water. And I think one thing that a lot of us do, and even I do a lot, and I got to try to find that balance, is shifting my weight towards a leap of faith. And I could sit here for 2 hours and tell you stories about how God's provided through the years, and everybody that works for me, everybody we've met, all of our clients, I've met and got a part of my life just by stepping out in faith. That makes things fun and makes life definitely less boring. Man, right now, I think that we're going to start really growing at leaps and bounds, especially now that we've got this production system set up. I don't really, again, we're a small business, and I put really all my business on hold for the last 3 months, really trying to develop this program. And so when we do start hiring, I'll definitely let my wife put something out on our website. We're interested in growing and training people, especially people that are eager to learn. But yeah, we would, I think we're getting there for sure. The size modulars real quick, they can go anywhere. Modulars really go anywhere from, 10 foot to 14 feet long, wide. It's just about if you can get it to that location. And again, when I first started doing this, it sounded crazy that a 15 foot wide, 15 foot tall, house could get some places, especially, halfway across the United States. But you realize that people do modulars all day long, and they move these bigger homes. And even my business with our tiny house on wheels, I've got an old Chevy truck. I hire, professionals to hire to move my homes. They're insured. They make it a lot easier. I hope I gave y'all what y'all were looking for. I'm super grateful for Jason and Zach asking me to be a part of this. I will try to get to all your emails. and your messages on social media. My wife actually handles all those, so you'll be speaking to her, but she usually is pretty good about it. But thank you guys. Excited to start showing you everything that we're getting into, and just want to encourage y'all to use this time of unknown to just reflect about really what the desires in your hearts are, and the things that are holding you back from those desires. And I believe that tiny living and a minimalist lifestyle are the answers to a lot of those things. But yeah, we love you guys. Thanks. Have a good one.